we know Bubba's good at the super speedways. It's Talladega. I'm not going to count out the 23. They've been so fast around super speedways. So, but I think we'll see an outsider kind of break it through.
Hey race fans, welcome into Backseat Drivers. That was from last week. Mamba, our resident analyst, you called the shot there, an outsider. Talk about Bubba getting that win at Talladega. We're going to get more into that. Mamba is joining me again this week. We also have special guest, America's crew chief, Larry Mack from Fox Sports joining us. Hey guys, an interesting day at Talladega, but a great day for the sport, right?
Well, it was. You know, Alex, I said last night on the Race Hub show, this was big for NASCAR. This was big for motorsports, but quite honestly, it's big for just sports in general. I would say even fans that are just casual fans, or maybe they're not NASCAR fans whatsoever, that they're going to take notice of this win yesterday with Bubba Wallace at Talladega. And then you just throw in the fact of Michael Jordan, the GOAT of NBA basketball, being a part of it, and the fact that no African-American driver has won since 1963 when Wendell Scott, heck, I was only 4 years old when Wendell Scott won. So this is a big deal, not just for NASCAR, but in my book, for sports across the board.
Huge day. Larry Mack, we are not calling you old. You are just as young as you feel. Mamba, you called it. You predicted the 23 to be good at Talladega. We know that Bubba is really good when it comes to the super speedways, but fitting that it was at Talladega for Bubba.
Yeah, it's like full circle, right? I mean, with everything that happened for him at Talladega, and really put the sport on notice for the world in a lot of senses last year. And for it to come all the way around, like Larry Mack says, the GOAT, MJ was riding along with him. And I'm so happy for my friend. I know it's big for the sport. I know it's, massive for all of us in the industry, but just for my friend, just for Bubba, I'm so happy. And it's so crazy, man, how life in sports works, because we just saw at Daytona, the Wendell Scott family got their trophy after all that time, about the race that Larry Mack was talking about, December 1st, 1963 in Jacksonville. They just got that trophy. Bubba was there. And now you look at it, it's almost like a passing of the torch into the next era. And it's been a long time coming, and it's just so cool. And everyone should be thrilled and ecstatic, because it's just bringing more eyeballs to the sport, and it's all good for everybody involved.
Yeah, definitely a historic day for the sport. I was really impressed with Bubba bringing Asher into victory lane. That was my favorite part of the whole day, was having your dog in there. All right, Larry Mack, let's look at Bubba in 2311 for 2022. We know that Bubba does not compete for a championship this year. He didn't make the playoffs, but he'll have the veteran driver of Kurt Busch next year. It'll be a more experienced crew with that team. Does 2311 and the 23 car make a playoff run next season?
Well, I think they better make a playoff run. I know that's what's expected from Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin. That's what Bubba Wallace expects. But I do like the moves that they are making over there with bringing a veteran, multi-winning championship driver of Kurt Busch into the fold. The X factor for every team next year is a clean sheet of paper with this next-gen car. Now, I'm not ready to run through the streets ringing the bell saying Bubba Wallace in 2311, they have arrived. I mean, you're still looking at a team that only has 3 top 5 finishes this year and 9 top 15s. And, winning any race is special, but we know Talladega is kind of a one-off type of a race. Now, if they can go to these next 5 weeks at all these different types of racetracks that we're going to and carry the momentum, then I think we take a little more notice. But there's no reason in the world, with Bubba Wallace's talent and the way the resources they're going to have at their disposal, and adding Kurt Busch, again, per Michael Jordan, I bet they better be a playoff contender.
Yeah, you're expected to go back-to-back when MJ is your boss. Bubba, will he make a playoff run? Will he go deep into the playoffs, Mamba? Let's throw it in there, too.
He's going to make a playoff run. He's going to make a run for the playoffs. And to Larry's point, he's got to. We saw when he got his first top 5, MJ was like, I expect more of this. So the expectation, as you do better with Michael Jordan, is going to put more pressure on you. And we've seen it with The Last Dance. That's how he makes his people better. And I think they're going to be up for the challenge. Shout out to Booty Barker. I think him being there in that role has galvanized that group a little bit, gave him a little shot in the arm, a little different perspective and attitude, which is great. I think that with Kurt Busch coming over, that's going to help them. They're going to be better. I think it's going to make Bubba a better driver as well. I think this will be realistically the first time that he has a teammate like that he can really lean on. So that's going to be big. And they better make a run. I tell you what, if they don't make a run and you don't see those top 10s coming early, there's going to be a fire lit under everybody at 23-11.
Yeah, Barker doing his rain call over the radio is a lot of fun. Larry Mack, you know a thing or two about hoping that it rains when you're leading there. Well, this was Denny Hamlin's first win as a team owner, and I know he said that it was a very emotional day for him and meant a lot more, and it was very different than him personally being in victory lane. Let's keep it on the Toyota side of things because a Toyota won at Talladega, but Denny Hamlin's a part of that Joe Gibbs Racing crew right now, and they have found some speed. Something has been lit over there at JGR, so have they overtaken Hendrick? Hendrick had a rough day at Talladega, Larry Mack.
Yeah, I've talked to Denny Hamlin. I've talked to Martin Truex Jr. I've talked to some of the crew chiefs over there. And I'm going to go off what they told me. They're not going to sit here and boast and say, oh, yeah, we have leapfrogged Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, let's face it. Hendrick Motorsports, they've won 12 races this year with all 4 of their drivers. But I do think that the crew chiefs, the drivers, the people involved over there at Joe Gibbs, I think they feel like they have substantially closed the gap. I mean, let's face it. I'm going to even throw Bubba Wallace in the Joe Gibbs family because we know that's just a branch of the family tree. I mean, they've won basically 4 of the 5 playoff races. So I think the gap has been closed. But I think Joe Gibbs Racing, they know when you look at these tracks that's coming up, you've got the Roval this week. You've got a couple of 1.5-mile tracks that start the round of 8. I think they know they still have some work to do if they want to actually say we have leapfrogged Hendrick Motorsports.
Interesting. Mamba, how do you feel about JGR going up against the big dog all season of Hendrick Motorsports?
I think they've arrived. I think they're here, right? I'm not going to say that they've, leap and bound past Hendrick. Like, that's not the case, right? The 5 and the 9 have brought a lot of speed, and the 24 and 48 have too, honestly. But I will say that they are going to have more cars in the playoffs probably in the next round than Hendrick. So there's something to be said for that. So, we know that there's luck involved in situations, but they're coming out on top now in those situations. So that, is a part of getting in front of the competition is in that situational race, being out in front. So they're there. They're definitely knocking on the door if they're not in front.
Basically, what you're telling me, both of you, is that Coach Gibbs is sleeping just fine at night. Larry Mack, I want the crew chief side of things and what it would be like to be in the garage right now. You have 2 drivers who are below the cut line and basically a must-win for the Roval. You have one that's only 9 to the good, and then obviously Kyle Larson carried a lot of points from that regular season. But is there any type of tension or worry right now over there at Team Hendrick?
I think as a crew chief, you worry no matter what. That's called being a crew chief. I don't know, Alex, if I would say there's tension over there. We realize that it's been a rough couple of weeks for Hendrick Motorsports. All the crew chiefs admittedly said we did not make the right call at Las Vegas Motor Speedway by staying out when we probably should have pitted, knowing that there probably was not going to be a caution in that particular stage. And then you go to Talladega and being involved in a wreck, that's a strong possibility no matter what race team you're with. But I still look at that group over there, and with the lineup of crew chiefs and drivers, I think they really are very close-knit. I don't see any finger pointing over there. Kyle Larson, he can't let his guard down here this week at the Charlotte Roval because they have given up a lot of points here of late. All of a sudden, all those playoff points they've got, it's dwindled substantially here in this round of 12. But I couldn't think of a better driver to be going to the Charlotte Roval with than Chase Elliott. Of course, he's won the last 2 times there. He's won 2 of our road courses this year. Yeah, I know the math looks at Alex Bowman and William Byron, and it doesn't necessarily say they have to win. But realistically, Larry Mack says the only way they're going to move on is they're going to have to win. Yeah, I'm sure there's some concern. I'm sure there's worry. I don't know if I would say there's tension over there just yet.
All right, I'm double endorsing that. Alex Weaver also says that they have to win at the Roval to make it to the next round. Mamba, what do you think about Hendrick?
Uh, Look, they're still Hendrick, right? They know that they have what it takes to win races and run up front and gain stage points and, dominate races for that matter. Now, is there tension? Is it cutting with a butter knife? No. But are they getting anxious? I'm going to say yeah. Because week in and week out over the last couple of weeks, they've been struggling in situations that we haven't seen them struggle with all year. And it's not like one car. It's kind of the whole team. So why is that? I'm not sure. Is it just the racing gods are, sprinkling a little luck on the rest of the field or taking a little bit away from Hendrick? I don't know. But if you're not anxious in the Hendrick camp to get on to the next round, I'd be surprised. Now, I am excited to see what happens with Chase Elliott in the 9. Okay, he is now in a pressure situation because he doesn't have that big gap. He can't just rely on points. They got to get some stage points. They got to gap the rest of those guys. And a win could knock him out. A win from somebody else could knock him out. So if I'm the 9, I think I got to kind of think about going for wins here at the Roval just to make sure no one else can win and knock you out.
Well, you mentioned the 9, so Mom, I'm going to throw it back to you. Let's say fans, this is a hypothetical situation. We love throwing them out here, but I'm just going to state that first. If only one car from Hendrick Motorsports makes it to the next round, and that being the 5 of Kyle Larson, is the season considered a failure? Mamba, we're starting with you on this one.
I think for the 24 and the 48, it's not a failure. It's a disappointment because they had speed and they shown signs of brilliance throughout the year. So I don't think it's a failure that just is like, oh, man, that sucks. Now, if the 9 doesn't make it into the next round because we expect him to be there, and he's the reigning champ, I think that would be a failure for that team. For the organization as a whole, no. To Larry Mack's point, they've won 12 races this year. They've had dominant performances. But if that team doesn't move on, that's a failure for them. And I think they would feel the same way because they're champs. They want to be champs again. You want to repeat. So I think they would feel the same.
Larry Mack, what about you? How do you feel if it's only the 5 carrying the torch over there?
Yeah, I mean, there's such a fine line between what you would consider a disappointment and a failure. Let's go back and look at Kyle Busch. He won the 2019 Cup Series championship, and he only won one race last year. It was all the way to Texas in the playoffs, and he missed the round of 8. You probably would say the reigning champion, to Mamba's point, coming back and only winning one race and not even making it to the round of 8 is probably right there flirting with a failure. And I'm kind of in Mamba's corner there. As far as the overall organization, regardless, I don't know how you could look at 2021 as a failure no matter what happens in these next 5 races. 12 wins, all 4 of your drivers have made the playoffs. They've all been to victory lane, and that's very, very hard to do. But I think the 9 kind of falls into that category like the 18 last year, to be the most popular driver in NASCAR, to be the reigning champion. But let me forewarn you, at this point last year, that 9 car was sitting with just 2 wins headed to the Charlotte Roval. And they came up there and won 3 of the last 5 races, including Phoenix, to win that championship. And even with the snafu at Las Vegas, he still came back and finished second there last week. So I'm not ready. I know he's only 9 points above the cut line. Don't just write that 9 car off yet. I really believe when it's all said and done and we leave the Charlotte Roval, Hendrick Motorsports is going to have at least 2 players in the round of 8.
Yeah, we all know that it is not over till the end of the night. The fans, once again, hypothetical. I'm just throwing it out there to say it again.
We've been trying not to get flamed. She's like, look, guys, easy.
And what the comments are going to say. So I'm just pre-warning everybody. All right. Well, now you mentioned it, Larry Mack. We're heading to the Charlotte Roval. We're not necessarily worried about the 9 when it comes to any road courses because of how dominant he has been on those road courses in the last 2 or 3 seasons. But let's look at the Charlotte Roval and let's see if a non-road course ace could possibly win here. So I'm taking out guys like Kyle Larson. I'm taking out guys like the 9, Martin Truex Jr. Mamba, could we see somebody who's not expected, maybe like another Christopher Bell at the Daytona Road Course, show up on Sunday?
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about, outsiders, I would look at Chase Briscoe. I picked Chase. I picked Chase to win Indy, and in my mind, obviously he didn't get the win. I mean, he had that thing won. But I would look at Chase Briscoe. He's good on the road course. He's good at the Roval. He won the Xfinity race a couple years ago in the Roval. So, I would think that 14 is going to bring some smoke. He just had his little baby boy. Congratulations to him and Marissa. And I think he's going to bring a win possibly back home for that new infant he's got.
Yeah, would it be too early to get Brooks in victory lane, Larry Mack? I would like a Brooks in victory lane.
Yeah, I'm going to say pump the brakes, though. I know we had Christopher Bell, that one Daytona, great story, first career win. You had A.J. Allmendinger that won at Indianapolis. And, of course, I don't know if anyone expected that a part-time Cup team could win a race, but I think when you've got A.J. Allmendinger behind the wheel, that pretty much says a lot right there when you go to any type of a road course. But, Alex, you named the drivers. Larson, he's won 2 of the 6 road courses this year. Chase Elliott, he's won 2. He's won the last 2 Charlotte Rovals. Truex is always there. But let's go back to the first Charlotte Roval race a few years ago. I mean, Ryan Blaney, yeah, I know he wasn't up there contending for the win when the 2 leaders took each other out. Yeah, I think there's a small chance, but I think it's a very small chance. I think the road course cream of the crop, they're still going to rise.
Well, one guy that is sometimes mentioned as having a little bit of bad luck when it comes to road courses is the 18 of Kyle Busch. He's really good at road course racing. He just always ends up in some kind of mess, especially towards the end. So, Larry Mack, does the 18 go incident-free at the Charlotte Roval?
Right now, the jury says probably not. If I was his crew chief, Ben Bayshore, I would sit down and say, Kyle, this is a long race. We need to score some stage points. We don't necessarily have to win this race. We just need to be incident-free. We don't need to get into one of the barriers. We need to have a good, solid day. And just give me 90%. Let's get to the closing laps of this race and then kind of see where we stack up. And we may not even be close to that at that point to having to win this race. Let's just go after it. Let's be smart. Let's just be incident-free, score some stage points, and then see where we're at when the checkered flag waves.
Larry Mack, if you were Ben Bayshore, we may be pouring you a drink later this week. So.
Well, right after I come out of therapy.
Exactly. Mamba, what about the 18 on Sunday?
That was good. Incident free, like, what does that mean exactly? Like, does that mean he can't, crinkle some fenders and, use the chrome horn? I think he can do those things. I think, to Larry's point, he better pick and choose his moments. Being 100% as a race car driver all race long is usually never worked out for anybody. You just can't keep yourself out of trouble when you're at 100% the whole time. So picking your moments to be 100%. But to Larry's point, if he's going to move on, he has to make it through this race right here. It's been their Achilles heel, it seems like. Obviously, has the talent and the ability to do it. Hopefully for him, he stays in his realm and in his own head and doesn't, let Rowdy pop out, his alter ego, it seems like it is. I think if he can do that, he'll have a shot to move on, and I think he'll be able to.
100% at the Roval. There's not a whole lot of room to go 100% at that road course. It'll be interesting to see what Rowdy can do. Well, speaking of not a whole lot of room, let's look at the elimination line because there's not a whole lot of room. The bottom 4 right now that would be out if it were to end right now and we would be moving on to the round of 8 would be Kevin Harvick is 9 to the bad underneath that elimination line. Christopher Bell is minus 28. William Byron is minus 44. And Alex Bowman sits at the bottom there in this 12th position of minus 52. So, Larry Mack, who is your first 4 out? Is that the 4 that we may see out after the Roval?
Yeah, maybe it seems like the easy way to go, but I think the 4 below the elimination line, that's going to be the 4 that's going to be there when the checkered flag waves on Sunday. Maybe the one asterisk would be Kevin Harvick in that 4 car. They're only 9 points below the elimination line, and he's smart. He knows what he needs to do on Sunday. He needs to score some stage points. He just needs a solid finish, and if Kyle Busch has his issues, then maybe Kevin Harvick can leapfrog Kyle Busch. I think all of these 4 drivers, they're going to run well. I mean, let's face it, Christopher Bell won the Daytona road course earlier in the season, But I just right now, my gut feeling, my hunch is the 4 below the elimination line going to be the same 4 when the checkered flag waves on Sunday.
All right. It will be interesting. And we always know the Roval, too. We go to pretty much up until that last lap to figure out who's going to be in and who will be out. Mamba, who is your early first 4 out?
I know we were just talking about Kyle Busch, and he has to be almost perfect for his standards to get through the Roval. And that's why I think that Harvick is going to leapfrog him and get in. And to Larry's point, Harvick just seems like he understands his situation. Right, he's kind of like the savvy vet, kind of like a Tom Brady-esque, where he knows where he needs to be at the right time to give his team the best opportunity to win or to move on in this instance. And I think he's going to do that. 9 points isn't crazy for them. I know that they've been a little off this year, especially compared to last year. But it also seems like Rodney has those guys kind of tuned in into a place that they can compete at least to get in the next round. So I think the 18 is going to be out. I think the rest of those guys are pretty much where they're at, and their playoff run is going to end here. Even though William Byron gets, I believe in William, man. He's had so much bad luck, and I believe in him and what he's able to do. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off a win at the Roval this weekend.
All right. Well, I think Kevin Harvick may still be mad, so we'll see how that plays out at the Roval too. All right, Larry Mack, you're the special guest here on the show. Who you got winning on Sunday?
Well, there is one other X factor. Is it going to rain and be wet on Sunday? Because we know we're going to – hopefully we don't race in a monsoon. I think we have finally found the line in the sand between racing in the wet and racing in the pouring down rain. But there is a chance of rain on Sunday. I know everybody's ready to engrave the trophy with Chase Elliott's name, and rightly so. He's won the last 2 times that we have been there. But you know what? The last 2 times we've been there, he didn't have to contend with a teammate named Kyle Larson. I think Kyle Larson is going to rise to the occasion on Sunday and get his 3rd road course win, his 7th win of 2021.
All right, I like it. Going with the teammate. Mamba, who you got?
I mean, normally you guys know this. I like going on a limb here.
Are you taking the low-hanging fruit? Hold on.
No, this is not. I'm not going into Alex Weaver land and taking, but I am gonna take Kyle Larson because they've had a string of bad luck, and I think if he wins the championship, it starts actually here. They got to turn the corner and get back to their winning ways and dominating ways. So I'm taking Larson. Weaver's shaking her head. It's not low-hanging fruit. They've been in a slump. They got to get out of the slump if they want this championship still.
Man, oh man, Mamba picking the 5. Thought I would have never seen the day when he came over to the dark side. All right, I am going to take the lowest hanging fruit. I'm going with the 9 of Chase Elliott. Nobody said it. The last 2 Roval wins, the 9 was in victory lane. The 9 finds victory lane again. Sorry, Larry.
You're just trying to make good with his fans for saying he might not make it out of the round of 12. I see what you're doing here.
The Chase Elliott army comes on strong on social media. All right, guys, it's going to be a fun one on Sunday. I appreciate you both being here. Mamba, go drink some water, some Pedialyte, do whatever you got to do.
Get some body armor in this boy.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure and tune into the Roval coming up. It's the elimination race for the round of 12. We will know who the 8 drivers who will continue to compete for a championship will be at the end of Sunday afternoon. But tune into that 2 p.m. Eastern on NBC, and we'll see you right back here next week on another episode of Backseat Drivers. We will have a pre-race show coming up before the Roval, so make sure and hang out with us on Sunday.